This afternoon on the marketplace, taxing sport betting. We assess the impact on the game as government moves in to rake in more revenue.
Shouldn't be hesitated yet. No. Yeah, if such is being introduced here, then I think the betting company will collapse. Yes, it's a fact. Because I can't come and win here with a charge of, how should I say, tax. No.
Also, we'll bring you government response on why the establishment of a development bank will not go to Parliament for approval. Plus, Kejetia Market owes 3.6 million cedis in utility bills in 4 months. We have the details. We have, of course, all these stories and more coming up shortly after this break. This day.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Hello and welcome. I'm Charles Aite. The government aims to formulate a new policy to improve revenue mobilization from online gaming in 2021. Now, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry for Interior are talking with stakeholders to formulate a comprehensive policy to improve revenue mobilization from online gaming. But what impact could this have on an already booming online betting market? My colleague Stella J. John visited some betting centers and now reports.
I'm at a sports betting center and I'm here to find out if people will still go on to bet the way they do now if they knew that their wins or their gains will be taxed. Follow me. Kweku Frempong, good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon, sister.
So I've seen that you are trying to add some things up. You are deleting some things as we can see on the screen. Why do you bet, or why do you come here to stake bets, and even how often do you do it?
Okay, for the betting, not other often. Sometimes maybe at least 5 times in a month, or 4 times in a month, or sometimes if probably 3 times in a week.
Okay, so how profitable is it?
Oh, profitable. It's profitable in many ways. Some are not profitable in many ways. Something like yesterday, I just came here with 20 cedis, and I went home with 5,200. Yeah, yesterday, an example.
If there's a tax on the money that you win, maybe a 5% tax on your 5,000 Ghana that you won yesterday, will it in any way deter you from coming to bet, or will it reduce? Today, I heard you are doing 120 Ghana. So if you know that when you do your 120, you may get like 6,000, 7,000, and government is taking like 70 cedis out of it. Will you still go ahead and do it?
No. That should be done by the, if I should say, Ghana Revenue Authority at their places. It shouldn't be hesitated yet. No. Yeah, if such is being introduced here, then I think the betting company will collapse. Yes, it's a fact. Because I can't come and win here with a charge of, how should I say, tax. No. This is win or lose. I will take it different from enterprise. Like you said to your own business, this is a win or gain or loss center. And to be frank, you're coming here and the process of betting and others, the probability for you to lose is, if I should say, 85%. The probability for you to win is most of the time when we enter, we are being captured. That's the fact. So you can't introduce tax into betting system. No, I don't think it can. That's for me. I don't think. No.
So when the taxes are introduced, you stop betting?
Oh yeah, it will help us. I don't think it's totally. You bleed you. When I fast when you bleed. You the tax no line. No line.
So are you saying that finally, do you think that the betting is a good thing? Like, is it a profitable, like you said, it's a profitable venture because you invest more and get a lot. So now if taxes are introduced, okay, if the taxes are introduced, you are saying that it will help you to reduce it. It means that in a way you are trying to see that it's actually not good and you are doing it.
Oh, if taxes is introduced, like the fact is once. Personally, it will be out. It will be out of. So there are like people to be coming and betting this and that. No, I don't think it will. For me, no. For others, no. For most of us, no. So I think the simplicity of everything is no. Yeah, it won't be introduced. It won't be to our benefit. Yeah.
So according to Kweku Frimpong, if taxes are introduced on betting, the betting companies will collapse. For Joy Business, Stella J. Jomsogi.
And that was Stella interacting with a sports bettor that you could hear from his voice. You could hear from his voice the kind of opposition he has to the incoming, move by government to tax sport betting. My colleague from the sports desk, Oreko Ampofo, joins us here in studios to help us understand the perspective he's getting so far from the industry. Oreko, we're grateful that he joined us. Interesting comment on television there. But from your perspective, you've been engaging most of these sport betting companies, and of course, they are the life to most of these foreign matches. How are they responding to this move?
It's a difficult one, especially because you have to first of all, regard the barrier of entry into Ghana when you want to, start your own betting company or set up here. Now, just a bit of background. To be able to obtain a gaming license from, Ghana's commission, you need to pay about $50,000 to be able to get the right license to set up a betting company in Ghana. Now, it doesn't end there. Each year, you pay an operational fee of around $40,000. And so we have a situation where the country is already making good money from these betting companies. You look around and per my last count, we have over 20 betting companies around. So if all these guys are paying, the supposed $40,000 operational fee every year, then that means that they are giving, quite a hefty amount to the government. So from their stance, they might be a bit reluctant to be taxed once again after giving such a huge money to the Gaming Commission of Ghana. But then you do also understand government's point of view, from the March review of the budget, saying that due to some loose laws, there are about 300 million Ghana cedis that the government could gain from that as well. So it's not a bad idea, but there's a possibility that if these taxes come, we might see some of these companies not really sustain themselves in the long run.
But of course, they all fall within the brackets of sin taxes, betting, smoking cigarettes, and, some other activities that really do not inure to GDP extraction in the country. So where lies the future of sport betting from your perspective as a journalist? Should there be taxes on this particular market?
Well, it just takes me to Kenya, where everything was fine in terms of the betting industry was blossoming like how it is in Ghana now. And then the Kenyan government decided to introduce some harsh tax laws. And we saw some reputable tax companies leaving, after those laws. And so there was a bit of a dip after the laws were introduced. And I do expect something similar, because if you look at the growth rate of betting in Kenya, comparing that to Ghana, it was way higher in Kenya than what we are seeing in Ghana now. So it means that we're not even reached our peak level yet. And if you look at these companies and the amount of money that they are using for marketing, sponsoring teams and all that, they are sort of playing a role in the football ecosystem. So you bet, they get the money, they sponsor teams, and everyone sustains themselves. So
it's a whole value chain. If we introduce these sin taxes, it could disrupt the value chain.
It could disrupt everything, and it would be difficult. I understand where government is coming from, but you don't have to be too hostile to these betting companies. Otherwise,
but they want to generate revenue. They're saying this falls under sin taxes. So where do we strike the balance? And of course, once again, I mean, what kind of concerns are they giving you on the best ways by which we could strike the balance in this argument? I
think the protagonist in this whole situation, that's the betting companies, should be safe from tax because they already have obligations to pay, you know, $40,000 each year to the Gaming Commission.
Okay.
The people really who should be taxed are the winners. So let's say person A places a bet and makes his winnings. The same way when you purchase something, you get a slight percentage of it and it goes to government. I think whenever you win, you know, some amount of money, maybe just a little percentage could go in terms of what you do gain, just a little percentage could go to government. So whether it's some 2% or, you know, some 3% or 5%, and that would be, you know, quote unquote, a bit more friendly than, you know, taxing these companies again. And so, yeah, I think they should rather focus on the individuals who place their bets. And maybe if they win something small, they can just chip off a little.
Do you bet?
No.
Anyway, we're grateful that you could join us with your analysis on this. He is a sports journalist here at the Multimedia Group, helping us understand his assessment on the recent move by government to really place some taxes on sports betting, not just sports betting, but other activities that really do not inure to Ghana's, you know, GDP extraction. We shall continue this discussion as we're trying to raise Ali Nachia, a tax expert, on his thoughts on this one. But even as we're trying to raise him, let's move to other stories where the Finance Ministry has been very focused on ensuring an independent operation of the newly created National Development Bank without any political interference. Now, this is the reason why the establishment of the National Development Bank is not going through parliamentary scrutiny and approval, but rather through the Registrar General's department. According to Director for Financial Services Division of the Finance Ministry, Samson Akligo, the ministry has developed a strong regulatory environment to ensure that the bank survives without government intervention. He was speaking at a development dialogue organized by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research.
National dialogue by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research was focused on the establishment of national development banks in the country and the best practices to learn from. Under the theme, National Development Banks and Sustainable Financing in Ghana, the program also gave a platform to stakeholders to deliberate on the importance of the yet-to-be-established development bank. Director of the Financial Sector Division at the Ministry of Finance, Samson Akligo, explains that the move to avoid direct parliamentary involvement is to ensure full independence of the bank. He also assured the ministry is taking guidelines from the international best practices.
For the first time, we did not go to Parliament to really pass an act to set up the development bank. The whole idea is that we don't want direct political appointments, and we don't want a situation where we also have civil servants and public servants on the board. So what we sought to do is that we established it under the Registrar General as a company, and then because we want it to be regulated, we passed a new act to develop that ecosystem and have it regulated. And I can confirm that so far what we have done is that we went through an independent process devoid of central government to appoint the board, and then the board is even more open to non-Ghanaians. And then at the same time, the CEO and the management selection process have been very competitive. And I think that is very important as one of the key lessons.
Director of ISE, Professor Peter Quarty, challenged the ministry to put in all the necessary measures to avoid collapse of the bank after a few years of its establishment.
To also strengthen the regulation environment to avoid financial sector cleanups. You saw in 2002, Bank for Housing and Construction and the Cooperative Bank went down. 2017, we've seen banks go down. Are we going to see a repeat in 2024, 2034? It looks like, I don't know, I want to break that cycle that every 17 or 18 years there will be a bank collapse. I think we ought to break away from some of these challenges so that we create enough confidence in the system. Because when banks go down, it affects livelihood, it affects people's health, employment, and so on and so forth. We want to avoid that. I want to end here.
Other speakers on the panel charged government to use the bank to support specific sectors of the economy, like agriculture, to spur growth.
Well, of course, let's get back to our earlier discussion regarding the taxation on some sin taxes, including sport betting. Government aims to formulate a new policy to improve revenue mobilization through online gaming this year. Initially, we interacted with sports journalist Oreko Amfafo, but let's now bring in tax expert Alina Chan to help us understand his perspective on this. We're so grateful, sir, that you could join us. Before you did, you missed out on a discussion with my colleague Oreko Amfafo, who initially states that this could be so much of a harsh policy, considering some financial demands, already obligations by these sport betting companies. They're paying close to $40,000 before they set up each and every month. Do you believe that taxation on them could be much more harsh from your perspective?
Thank you very much. I think that what we need to examine is the nature of taxes that they are paying. There is a difference between paying a registration fee or getting a license to operate in a sector in the economy. But after you have set up, when you are making income, remember incomes, we are looking at regular inflows. But if at the end of the day you are incurring more cost than you are getting income, you will be running at a loss. There is no tax on losses. And indeed, you can even carry forward your losses to knock off against any future taxes. So we need to segregate the kind of payments that they make as against registration fee or license fees and the tax on the income they are earning. Then also remember, a service is being provided. And for all service providers and people who trade in goods, they are required to register and pay value-added tax. So we may want to see whether the service being rendered, the necessary VAT, if applicable, has been collected and remitted to the state. So I think it is all about discussions to know the range of fees and licenses as against tax by way of the income that they are earning. And that is where the distinction needs to be drawn.
There is also this, debate, if not concern, over the cost build-up, which could disrupt, the value chain of, sports in the country, football in this regard. From your perspective as a tax expert, is this justified, an argument?
I think that if the revenue being generated from taxes, fees, and licenses they pay is going to be channeled to the appropriate quarters, it will rather see us developing sports for the interest and benefit of both sportsmen, spectators, and even the betting public. Because come to think of it, if you look at all the stadia being put up to speed towards 2023, if the revenue is coming in to develop the sports arena, sports enthusiasm, interest would increase. And I think it will be a win-win situation for all. The concern for me would be for the tax revenue being used for the purpose for which it was being collected. That is what gives people the confidence and the necessary compliance, enthusiasm. It is when they do not see what the tax revenue is being used for is when the question arises. So if the basis of the taxation is to develop the sports arena, then I think that they would really want to see that. That I agree with them. But the cost buildup could be occasioned because of the fact that the necessary revenue is not being generated to support the sector. So I think that the monitoring and evaluation of the use of the revenue should be key in getting sports to be developed through taxation.
Alina Chan, we're grateful that he joined us. He's a tax expert and he's shared his thought on developments regarding the taxation on betting, online betting to be specific. Away from that, the Ministry of Finance, of course, the impasse actually between traders and management at the KJTR market over payment of utilities has resulted in an accumulated debt of 3.6 million cedis. Management of the facility say traders have defaulted in paying bills for 4 months in protest against exorbitant charges. MD Kofi Dufour says the arrangements to address the concerns. Prince Apia has more in this report.
Traders at KJTR Market pay 40,000 cedis for electricity monthly, with each shop paying averagely 100 to 200 cedis. To deal with the challenge, they want management of the Kumasi City Market to get them separate meters. In the past 4 months, The traders have suspended payment of electricity bills and other service charges in protest against delays in installing the meters.
The stall I occupy is small, yet I am billed huge sums at the end of the month.
Too much. The angry traders have placed red flags in front of their shops in protest against the delayed process.
This red flag has come to stay. Until we get a favorable response from authorities, it is not coming down. I use several appliances at home, but pay less compared to this stall with only a fan and a light bulb. This is too severe.
Operations manager of the Kejetia Traders Association, Ahmed Kwating, says they will continue to protest until their problems are solved.
Until our issues are addressed with a suitable timeline to resolving them, we are not dropping the flag. This is not an attack on the authorities, but just an expression of our grievances.
Managing Director of KCM, Kofi Dufour, says a contract will be signed with Klo Ghana Limited this week to address the metering issues.
Our lawyers are working on the contracts. We expect that a day or two it should be done. Bearing any variations or changes, if the Klo people are okay with what we've put together and they go through it, push comes to shove, by Friday we should sign. If we have to even sign on Saturday, we'll sign. We don't want to take this matter to next week. It would end.
Mr. Dufour urged the traders to end their protest and help clear the debt to keep the facility running.
We are apologizing as a management and as a board, but we want to assure them that we will do the needful within this week, before the week passes. This matter, this chapter will be crossed. So the red flags, if they can just bring them down on behalf of management and the board, I'll be most grateful.
Prince Apia reporting.
Ghana Cocoa Board has begun the pilot registration for cocoa farmers pension scheme in the new Idubiasi Cocoa District of the Ashanti region. The scheme will provide decent retirement income for cocoa farmers. We have more in this report.
Over 2,800 cocoa farmers in the new Idubiasi Cocoa District will be registered on the pension scheme, which is expected to be completed in 2 weeks. Contributions will be taken at the point of sale where farmers sell their cocoa beans to the licensed buying companies. Charles Oseakoto is Chief Executive Officer of Stallion Trust and Administration.
The Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme is starting on October 1st, 2021. It was launched in December 2020 by the President. So all is set to go. Right now we are doing a mock exercise to test the structures, the systems, the processes, so that come October 1st, the pension can take off. In the process, doing this mock exercise, if there are any hiccups, if there are any challenges, then we use the remaining time to resolve all the issues. There are 14 licensed buyers companies. So we have selected 2 purchasing clerks from each buying company, making 28 pieces. Then amongst them we have selected 2,800 cocoa farmers that are going to go through this mock exercise.
As part of the scheme, 5% of the value of the beans sold will be deducted electronically and credited to the account of the farmer. However, 75% of the contributions will be locked into an investment fund, out of which the cocoa farmer can access monthly incomes at age 60. Arnold Mensah-Bones, a consultant to Stallion Trust and Administration, says 25% will constitute a savings account for the cocoa farmer, accessible after 5 years.
When you sell cocoa, supposedly you're supposed to get 1,000 cedis. That's the gross. Then because it's mandatory that every cocoa farmer contributes 5%, 5% will be deducted. Then Cocoa Board will also contribute 1%. So if you sell 1,000 cedis of cocoa, 5% of 1,000 is 50 cedis. Instead of getting the 1,000, you'll be given 950 cedis. Cocoa Board will match that contribution. Then at the end of every month, the money will be sent to the custodian bank. I think the farmers will need a lot more education. You know, it's not that easy when you deduct money from people. They want to be sure how you're going to use the money, what will be the benefits to them and all that. But the good thing for all the farmers is that at least at long last, after 30-something years, it's going to be implemented.
According to some farmers, the scheme will make the agriculture sector attractive to the youth.
You are a farmer without a pension, but there is no need to be a farmer. But as far as you are now a farmer, but a time will come, you get a pension from the work you have done, then it will motivate us so that our young people who are moving, going to Garamsey and so on, they will come home, then have a way of doing the farming.
If they introduce that monthly, I know it's going to help us. Not that they give us first month, about 6 months, no, the payment will delay, it will be coming. But if it will be regular, it will be better for us.
The Cocoa Farmer Pension Scheme is duly registered with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. From New Adibiasi in the Ashanti region, Emmanuel Osei reporting.
Now, the first Ghanaian paint production company, Dominion Paint Manufacturing Limited, has outdoed its newest products, Agatex Paints, with actually a production capacity of about 40,000 litres each day. The company is poised to serve the growing demand for quality and affordable paint commodities in Ghana and the world at large. We have more in this report.
The Dominion Paint Manufacturing Industries Limited was started in a small wooden structure where fabricated propellers and barrels were used to produce paint. The chief executive officer of the company, Stephen Adom, said he chanced on a young man who was locally producing paints of high quality in 2014. He, however, took over and set up a production unit at Chawenu in the Howet district of the Volta region in 2017. This was after the young man abandoned the idea. Mr. Adom said he used to produce about 2,000 litres daily.
So, a very humble beginning of a wooden structure with those machineries you see at the front there. We started mixing paint, which we were supplying to the local market. We sell to private contractors, private builders and all that. So, I found the product to be catching up with the market. Few people started coming from Togo to come and pick few quantities and all that. So I decided to expand a little more than we're doing. So I decided to modernize. Initially it was this motor, a small motor fitted with locally fabricated propeller and all that we're using in this kind of barrels. So, and it was very dreadful. You mix a color, then you have to scoop everything out because it's stationary. The propeller is fixed in the tank. So you have to scoop everything out, wash it thoroughly. It's the washing which is the business. If you don't wash well, and a little pigment of color mixed with the next color, you are in trouble. So we wash thoroughly with the thing still fixed at a place, and then we mix a second color. So in a day, sometimes we are able to do 2-3 mix.
He explained that there was a need to expand when he was overwhelmed with orders.
Until 3 years ago, getting to Christmas, when I had some huge orders and I decided to, I actually started buying all my raw materials from the local market. We go to Kantamanto and all that, we buy the pigment, we buy the acrylic, we buy all the things that we need, and then we come to produce. So I decided to, that Christmas, which is our peak season, there were a lot of orders, so I went to Accra to go and buy raw materials, only to find out that the prices have been hiked so much. Some of them have been quadrupled. Our packaging materials, the prices have been quadrupled and all that. So I couldn't produce to meet my demands for the Xmas. So I started looking out for raw materials. I managed to get a source from UK, and the issue of capital to import the raw materials came up. So I started looking around for either a loan, a partner, or something that will bring the needed resources to import the raw materials. And then after a while, I ran into Quick Angels Limited, who were interested in my project and brought in the needed capital to import the raw materials.
Quite a captivating story there. That's how we end this edition of The Marketplace as well. For more news, you log on to myjawline.com/business, where you can get all the updates in the world of business. My name is Charles Aite. Many thanks for watching.